This episode is brought to you by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery. The Grateful Dead and Dogfish Head have gotten the band back together with the release of Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale, a light-bodied pale ale brewed with sustainable Kernza grains, granola, and heaps of good karma for a refreshing brew that's music to your taste buds. Available nationwide. Visit dogfish.com to find Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale in your neck of the woods. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery is located in Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
No matter how you travel, it's good to have a plan. Some people plan every minute. No sleep, bus, museum, another museum. While others only plan to take it day by day. When it comes to your finances, a plan is just as important. You can count on Credit Karma to give you the insights you need to understand your options, so you can take charge of your financial path and find your way to money. Explore how you can make financial progress with confidence today. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Buying a car shouldn't eat up your week. That's why Carvana made it convenient. Car buying that fits around your life, not the other way around. You can get pre-qualified for an auto loan in just a couple of minutes and browse thousands of quality car options, all within your terms, all online, all on your schedule. Turn car buying into a few clicks and not a full week's endeavor. Finance and buy your car at your convenience on Carvana. Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbifs Rugby podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby, the top 14, Pro de National, French national team, Champions Cups, Challenge Cups, of course, most importantly of all, the brilliant towns, cities, bars, restaurant, people, fans, stadia, everything that makes the French rugby experience so fabulous. And what a fabulous season it's been, Rob. We're at the end, episode 50. I think we agreed series rather than season 2 in the spirit of kind of a BBC drama. How are you feeling? How are you reflecting on the last 50 weeks, give or take?
Humbled, privileged, great team effort. Shout out to the lads. It's about next week though. It's obviously don't look at milestones. We just think about next week, and next week we're off. But no, I'm excited for the awards. I have to say, I am. I'm also getting increasingly excited for next season of rugby and next series of the podcast. But just very excited to get back out to France. I think, looking back at the years, and with the fixtures all coming out, I'm looking forward to next year already. How about you? How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm looking forward to a bit of reflection. I think that last test series tested me ever so slightly with all the kind of summer rugby going on. But no, it's been an incredible year of French rugby. We've done some highly enjoyable trips, visited some cool places, met some cool people, both on the pod and on our travels. And I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's what it's all about.
Yeah.
How do we want to do this? This is going to be, have you got the year in numbers? I can see some big numbers in front of me here. Whether or not these are true or not, I have no idea.
No, they are true. So, quick summary of the season. I guess the kind of big hitters. Toulouse retained the title, obviously, at the top 14. UBB won their first major trophy as UBB when they won the Champions Cup. Montauban won promotion remarkably from Pro de. Van, who were the only relegated side from top 14, had a historic first year in the top 14 as the first Breton side to play in the top 14. And France won the Six Nations and were three from three in the autumn, which is kind of quite easy to forget that they won especially after the last tour that you referenced, that they are the Six Nations winners. And all but for some Butterfingers in that first half against England would have had a Grand Slam as well. In terms of Rosbifs, our year in numbers, Richard, 50 episode weeks. So that's 50 episodes plus 7 bonus episodes. 11 interviews in total, of which 6 were with current players. I don't have the stats on trips and ground visited. That's just there, and I think I've done, off the top of my head, I reckon I've done 6, but I'm not going to, 6 trips. I'm not even going to try and guess the grounds visited or the days spent in France. We'll do that in the break, and we'll finish at the end. Flights missed back from France, for me, I think is 3.
Sure.
Possibly 4. 3, I think. But yeah, we'll round up that when the finish, when I've kind of thought about it.
Very, very impressive. And also it's a bit niche, but one, when we made the switch over to the Sports Social Podcast Network, one episode that I believe has now fallen through the cracks. There is an archived, what would you call it, lost episode somewhere that we'll see if we can dig out. Only the real diehards would have heard it.
Isn't it the Ronan Loughlin one?
No. That's not that.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. There's no way we'd let that slip through the cracks. It's just us talking nonsense about something. Okay, as we did last year, it's, we have La Nuit de Rugby. We had Charles Richardson on this year, didn't we, to discuss what goes on there. Mathieu Reynal on the cigars and so on, the glitz and glamour. But the real quiz, the real French Rugby Awards. Have we agreed on this? We were going with Les Golden Boeufs. La Nuit de Rosbifs. Should we stick with the Golden Boeufs?
La Nuit de Rosbifs, and you win yourself a Golden Boeuf, I reckon.
Oh, okay. So
we're going to have a play around to see what awards we can find in terms of physical or what they look like. But yeah. We've
got, I believe, 10 and a half, 11 big hitting awards here, Rob.
Okay.
And I think we've obviously, a selection / judging panel of some of the greats of French and world rugby and world travel. We've consulted these with them, and I think we've got a fabulous list of thoroughly deserving winners. So should we start with the big one at the top, the Rosbifs Trip of the Year? Where do we want to go?
Well, I guess we've got a short list. We're going to have a 3-trip short list, and then a winner. The thing is that we've not done all of them together, Richard. But I guess one of the best ones that stands out in terms of ones we did together would have to be Van, just for its uniqueness and how special it felt to be there. Are you happy for that to be on the short list?
Totally.
I think for me the one I did, the kind of longer one to Pau, staying in Pau with the cycling, doing Derby weekend. That was the whole Derby weekend thing, and just being there for a prolonged period, I think for me was my favourite trip of the year.
Fair enough.
If that's all right to get in there.
Squeeze it in. I was going to go the season opener of Brive followed by Cast.
Yeah,
a bit of hopping between Limoges and Toulouse in the interim. So yeah, happy with that 3-man shortlist. We did obviously go to Paris for the Stade de France All Blacks.
I do think that was possibly my best match day, I think.
Interesting.
Or the best game, or the best atmosphere, I think, because that was just an epic game. First time at Stade de France as well, and I just absolutely loved it. I think though, if you include it in a whole trip, I found the atmosphere at the Real Arena in San Sebastian for that derby game between Bayonne and Pau, despite the fact the weather was absolutely horrific. That was just an epic day of food, drink, atmosphere. Yeah, great game. Yeah, I'm happy to kind of, I don't know, I feel like the New Zealand one was so good, but it wasn't really a trip in the kind of proper sense that we do it. It wasn't kind of multi-town, multi-day. It was just a one-off. Well, it ended up not being a one-off day for me, but yeah, that was just one moment in time, whereas I think a trip is a bit more prolonged.
Interesting. See, for me, across all of this, I want to say it was my favourite trip, but I think the thing that stands out most was the visit to Van. I really do. I think, 1, hard to get a ticket for. 2, just a brilliant town, like rugby town, with properly the whole place behind it. The stadium is amazing, and like the entrance and things to the stadium are just like kind of nothing else. And yeah, it felt like getting involved with the locals. Our man Florian took us around. Like it's kind of it's everything. It's everything from that sort of that like match day experience that you'd want. So I think that's probably my best match day. If we're saying trip needs to have a couple built in, then I'm happy to defer to your mega week and a half or whatever it was between Pau and Mont de Marsan and wherever else you didn't visit on that trip.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure.
We can have separate. We can have one each, Rich. We can have our own trip of the year. Yeah, cool, I think I will go with that one. I think I will go with that one. as good as, although a close second in terms of actual trips, I'd say the Soyongalem, Pomerol, Périgueux, Bordeaux number, just for there was so many good bits within that, mainly going to Pomerol at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever.
Yeah, fair. So we're going Van and the Tour de Rob as the 2 trips of the year.
Okay.
Thoroughly well deserved.
Fence sitting early on. We need to not repeat that.
Alrighty, into the boring stuff. Pro Day de Player of the Season. Now, I think when we were doing our Team of the Year, we potentially kind of inadvertently let this one out of the bag. Or maybe, well, I think that to me there are 2 standouts here, and there's definitely no bias because one's English and one's been on the podcast. But for me, the standouts consistently throughout the year: Sam Davis, King of the Mountains, Magician of the Mountains, I should say, and Big Courts, Courtney Laws, who was nothing short of phenomenal. Perhaps with the kind of icon pick, the legend slot going to the much vaunted, the amazing Jerome Bosviel.
I think the 3-man shortlist has to be Courtney Laws, Sam Davis. Well, you wanted Bosviel. You didn't even want Sam Davis in the team.
Sport's about moments, Rob. It's not just about hitting rucks for 30 weeks. Well, it is in Pro Day Deux, but yeah, I think sometimes you need a bit of romance in there. You're an accountant, Rob. You want stats and things like that. Exactly. I want romance.
I think Gabin Law would be in the top. I think when we did the team, didn't we? We said that him and Big Courts were the definites. Yeah.
Unanimous decisions.
And it would feel wrong for Sam Davis not to be in that top 3 of players of the season. I think there's some good candidates elsewhere, but I think my vote would probably go for Sam Davis. I think
sheer consistency.
Yeah, it's a tough one because Courts was great. Yeah, Courts did throw an intercept. So when we saw him live, so maybe Sam Davis. Yeah. I think my vote would go for Sam Davis for the of the year. Although Gabin Law was exceptional throughout the season, and I cannot wait to see him in top 14 and see more of him generally.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue with that. However, tricky the last couple of games were, and obviously Sam having to come off injured, and yeah, it was not great. So although the season didn't end in the way we perhaps thought it was, I think his consistency and standout quality, game management, kicking, everything was just extraordinary, wasn't it? The kind of level throughout the year. So, and he's been on the pod. So what more can you want? A lovely bloke.
I think, yeah, definitely no bias there whatsoever.
Excellent. Okay, we're motoring through, Rob. Where do you want to go next?
Well, I guess the next one we've kind of got another Nuit de Rosbifs, Nuit de Rugby one. The Revelation, or the La Révélation, which is, there's no strict criteria for this, but it's an emerging talent who have made a significant impact and demonstrated exceptional potential, seems to be the gist looking online. And I think it's a weird one because I feel like a lot of the players that you might think are the best emerging talent in France have already emerged to an extent. I think you think of Atis Ogbe, he's old news. We knew about him years ago, genuinely years ago, and he won the Revelation last year. So I feel like guys like Atis Ogbe, who kind of already been capped last summer, kind of can't really be in this list. And in that sense, you're then kind of struggling. And I kind of came out with guys that have perhaps kind of made a bit more of an impact in the top 14 this year. So my shortlist would be Fabien Brabery, John Etchegaray and Robin Takola, who kind of youngsters. All 3 played in the under-20s, and all 3 have played decent chunks of top 14 this season. John Etchegaray with the fastest try in top 14 history as well. I couldn't think of too many others to go on that list though, because a lot of the young talent now is 21, 22, and they've actually been around. You know, last year's shortlist was Atis Ogbe, Castro Ferreira, Cost. There's not really equivalent players of those this season, I don't think.
Yeah. I had 2 to add to this, one of whom I'm actually going to save for my Rosbifs special, or whatever we want to call it, award at the end. And I'll tell you for why later, rather than going too early. Yeah, beyond those, the only other one I had who you could possibly add to that was Teo Shibuni. Bit of a cast. bias
I
maybe,
like that.
but I think particularly coming from, don't think he played in the under-20s. He's a tiny bit older, I think he's 21. Hadn't played in the under-20s, kind of unseated a club and league legend in Julian Demora, and was genuinely excellent towards the end of the season for Cast. I think he's a real exciting one. So yeah, I'd maybe add him into the mix.
Yeah, I'm happy to bin off Takola for him on the shortlist. I think that's a very reasonable one. My nomination, though, for the winner would be Fabien Brabary. I just think it's Poe bias, but
top 14 quality, I think that's very
actual
fair.
kind of. I just think the two games that I saw him play in the flesh, Manu Tuolangi had a brilliant game in that game by on, but if there was anyone going to stop him in that Poe side, it was their 20-year-old inside centre, which is kind of quite mad to say. He would be my pick. I genuinely think he's in the same way that this time last year I said I think Atis Ogbe is the real deal, got it all. Fabien Brabary perhaps hasn't kind of got it all in the sense of being an inside centre, but I think he's got something. Like he could be like a kind of he just does the right stuff, and I think he's a real good quality operator at the age of 20, which is a big physical inside centre doing the hard bits. It's very easy to be flashy bits at that age, but I think nuts and bolts. I think he's kind of could be like trying to think like Jamie Roberts, for example, like not necessarily all the flashy stuff, but simple things that just make a huge difference to your team. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I think that's absolutely fair enough. He's been awesome, hasn't he? And I think, obviously as a Poe man, you were perhaps slightly more on this train than others, but could have done a job in New Zealand over the last month or so, which perhaps the others you wouldn't have had quite as far up. So yeah, very happy with that. Can I make an
I think when you look at that test tour, you had 13s playing at 12 in Barassi and Fiku. So yeah, they've got plenty. Although France do have plenty of 13s, so maybe he won't get a look in. But
could I make an early prediction for next year's Révélation, whatever we want to call it? Quite an interesting little transfer move. Racing, who were looking a bit short of a 10, have signed Hugo Sunes from Aurillac.
Nice.
Which is
former Blognac man.
Yeah, former Blognac. Apparently was let go by Argennes when he was, 17, 18, something like that. Which is, awesome for him. And I know he had a great year at the helm for Aurillac. But also I think, a club that I feel like we have a real soft spot for and are somehow going to try and get out there this coming season. Interesting, they're 2 2 years on the spin of had a really, a decent season, shepherding the club with the lowest or second lowest budget in the league, and being picked up by big hitters. Obviously Antoine O'Can, who had that injury at Perpignan, but was starting at 10 for them, and then Sun's going to Racing. So yeah, watch this space. I really hope
he's got a little bit of
kiss of death.
He's got a little bit of a cult following from what I could tell already, which is quite impressive for a 20-year-old or whatever he is.
No, he's going to have a serious cult following when Racing win the Brennus next year.
Yeah, and he's done everything that Owen Farrell couldn't.
Excellent. Speaking of Owen Farrell, scandal of the year. I don't know if that counts as a scandal or just a bit of a
favourite shambolic incident. Yeah,
the biggest shambles. Uzair Kasim's transfer the other week was pretty impressive in terms of back and forth, and from what we heard there, anything involving Racing, to be honest, this year felt like it was problematic, bar a little bit of a mini golden patch they had. Obviously, Lancaster in, Son in, Lancaster out, Lancaster Junior suddenly becoming the second coming of Dan Carter once his dad had buggered off. Jackie Lorenzetti just being a bit of a nuisance. Montpellier and they're having to move grounds however many times because their pitch was totally unsuitable.
It was a sand school.
being not the worst in the league. What else have we missed? There must be a couple of others in there.
I was just thinking about Jackie Lorenzetti. Was Sia Khaleesi technically a Racing player at the start of the season?
Oh no, I reckon it's probably this period of the year when it was confirmed he was going, wasn't it? So it probably doesn't quite count.
I mean, there was a few scandals in Pro D2, like just the whole Biarritz finances, I guess. Masavesi Dakawanga, that is just a bizarre story.
Surely, actually, you know what? Surely that is That has to be it.
To have, I guess the other one that's Rocky Elsom would be another one.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
One of the kind of ones that make kind of more major news. But I think
that's bigger. That's a genuine Interpol issue, isn't it?
Yeah. Not really like this cute little scandal thing that we've got on this podcast. I think for me, it would have to be, the shortlist would have to be, Dakawanga has to be on the shortlist. And I'm trying to work out what specific Racing bits would be on there. I think the scandal of is it a scandal that Stuart Lancaster kept picking his son? I don't know. It just felt quite comical.
I think in the end, maybe it's not, because the scandal was he was picking him on the bench, not to start. When they got, when Big Sam came in. I think you can just call it like, Racing melodrama.
Scandal of the season. Racing 92. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Racing melodrama. I'm sure there'll be plenty of listeners that are like, Jackie Lorenzetti has to win this award somehow.
Yeah. The problem with that for me is that when he was talking about Farrell and he called him a snail and that sort of thing, he then softened it by talking about how he knew he'd been injured, how fabulous he'd been around the club, like what an influence he was, rather than doing the usual Lorenzetti, like double down, going with another 2-footer.
Yeah.
Start getting like really personal and things like that, calling double World Cup winning captain, one of the most famous athletes in the world, fat.
Yeah.
Look, for me, it's surely Dakawanga when you end up in some sort of biting incident in a bar that results in ambulances, police, contract terminations, and then was this the one, correct me if I'm wrong, but where something was reported around it had been dry January and I hadn't had a drink
for a while and I just didn't quite get it right. It was basically like a bloke's explanation to his girlfriend after a bit of a mad one.
Coming in, missing the last train home rather than potentially being in prison for however many years. Yeah, and I think the fact he's then ended up at Periga, which are our, as it stands, our boys in National, and then somehow managed to not be retained, and he's gone to Nissa Rugby, or what the artist formerly known as Stade Niçois. The whole thing is incredible. Bit of a dark edge there, don't get me wrong. But the guy, who was it at Biarritz who got bitten as well? It was like a bit of a club legend.
It was scrum half, wasn't
one
it?
One of the scrum halves, so name escapes me. But going after the main man as well.
Yeah.
Maybe he was doing that thing that we've been to amateur sports clubs where someone's in the bar telling you how good they were after a few pints, and old Massey Dakawanga just thought, I'm not having this, I'm the best player here.
The equivalent, the kind of the pouring a pint over someone's head taken to the extreme.
Yeah. Does he win it?
I think he does, yeah. Yeah, he's got to. Do we tag him in the post? That's the big one.
Probably not. I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to defer to you on this one, Richard. The one we've not quite managed to get a full 15 of the Rosbifs Sartorial 15. We probably could squeeze one out, but we've got about 2/3 of the team. But the Rosbifs Sartorial excellence, it's something we've stumbled across this year, of just seeing a lot, being on the socials, seeing guys on social media looking cool as shit.
Yeah.
Richard, take it away. Who are your nominees for Rosbifs Sartorial excellence? The one they all want to win, I reckon.
Yeah, totally. So the two guys who are consistently looking exceptional, with some of it some pretty left field clobber, I must admit. Sekou Makalu pulls out some ridiculous gear. The other day he was wearing the Nike re-release of like the Total 90s, but basically wearing a pair of early 2000s AstroTurfs around his house, which is absolutely incredible. The smarter end, Mikel Guillard, earlier in the season in the stands in Lyon, very not easy to pull off the big camel trench coat, and he was rocking it with a pair of wire rim glasses and just looked unbelievable. Very kind of professorial, but also 6'6" and massive.
Yeah.
The final one on the shortlist, and I think actually it probably has to go to it, is the Toulon. Anyone who is not playing for Toulon but is in the playing squad. with that sort of camo, khaki, whatever it is, like match day shirt that they're rolling out. It's such a lovely bit of kit. And I think probably head and shoulders above the rest in that.
They've got like a lovely faded blue. I've got on here Jaminet. They've got like a faded blue Toulon Nike cap as well that goes with it, which is just glorious.
I'm not sure I've seen that.
Of this 15, I've got 1, 2, 3, 5. So we've got about 10 or 11 completed, and 5 of them are Toulon players. I think that just kind of, one of them is just Charles Olivon, to be fair.
Just for being great looking. Yeah. But I think I was going to award it because he rocks it so well with the glasses, with the bald head. Jean-Baptiste Gros, the suavest man in French rugby. What a boy.
Yeah, I was going to add one in for slightly less suave, and I've got here Gabin Villiers and Montclair Fleece, but I want to take you back to Angoulême, Richard, and Alex Masibaka in the statement fleece on the night out. That was a wonderful bit of kit, like a real Larry Patton, proper kind of, what would you call that?
Sherpa fleece.
Sherpa fleece, yeah. But we're giving it Jean-Baptiste Gros, are we?
If you're talking genuine sartorial elegance, I think the standout item of clothing, the piece of the season, which is maybe an award for something else as well, but has to go to like that bit of Toulon kit, and he rocks it so well.
I genuinely thought you were going to go for Guillard.
Well,
I was convinced you were going to go for Guillard.
Nah, he's had enough plaudits this year. We'll give it to Jean-Baptiste.
Okay.
Although arguably the two guys this season, and perhaps we can come on to France Player of the Year after this, maybe the two guys this season who have burst their way into the best 15 or 23, Guillard, Jean-Baptiste Gros, two best dressed men in France. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so.
No.
Up your clobber game. Get yourself capped by Gaultier.
I like it.
That segues in. That was not deliberate. Shall we segue into the French International Player of the Year?
Yeah, go on then.
Let's do it. I'm going to assume
it can include sevens, by the way, Richard. Obviously,
do that.
Yeah, I know. It was the way that I just put that in just to reference the fact they shoehorned Dupont into it last year.
Yeah, I think I would assume that a 3-man shortlist, Rob, would look something like Ramos, Louis Bielbiere, and one of Guillard, Murfana, Flamel, maybe.
Yeah, I think, or Jean-Baptiste Gros as well. I think Guillard has to be on it.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's Ramos, Louis Bielbiere, or Guillard.
Nice.
And I think you got to go Louis Bielbiere.
I think you have to, don't you? Can try and be clever about it, but I think you're probably right.
Because again, people might think, well, surely he is the revelation of the season, but no, he played in the 2023 World Cup, so he's arrived. He's already arrived, but he fully arrived this year, and I think his try scoring record for France, and just the impact he had in that game against the All Blacks at home was just remarkable. Like a proper match winner. He scored the try of the Six Nations, the one where he basically ran around the stadium. Yeah. I think he's got to be the best France international this season.
Yeah,
I'd be very surprised if he doesn't win the main award. This might be the one award where La Nuit de Rugby is aligned to La Nuit de Rosbifs.
Yeah, I don't think that's hugely up for debate. I think the fact that you could have a Guillard, Ramos, obviously operating at a world-class level in multiple positions, as you would expect. Yeah, I think LBB, you'd have to go pretty deep to find a reason for it not to be him.
Yeah.
Well, that was very straightforward. Can we squeeze one more in before our self-imposed break, Rob? Where can we go? Maybe guest moment or interviewee or interview. All of our guests this year on the pod have been amazing. Like genuinely, it's been a real pleasure speaking to them.
It is kind of mind-blowing still that we as though we're this massive superstar international podcast. But no, it's kind of mad that we're able to get these guys to kind of very kindly come on and speak to players. It's still kind of slightly surreal when we do speak to these players.
Yeah. So I'm not going to maybe this is one for one each actually, rather than short listing. I mean, I genuinely, all of the guys we spoke to have been amazing. I think for me, just the slight nicheness of it, and the fact that one of this guy's mates is insisting that we're doing a live podcast in person in his favourite coffee shop in Aurillac this season, which we're going to do it. It's going to have to happen.
Shano, we're gonna make it happen.
Shano, we're coming for Ronan. Ronan Lachlan, really lovely bloke, really interesting story. Great hearing about Aurillac, a club that, you know, is so fascinating for so many reasons. And they have amazing cheese and very dangerous bees in Aurillac as well, as we found out recently. Yeah. So I think that's the one that maybe sticks with me. How about you?
That was probably going to get my vote. We kind of trapped Ronan into some innuendo about a coffee shop, which was great. I did really enjoy, and obviously I wasn't part of it, but I enjoyed you kind of slightly inconspicuously getting out of Alex Moon that JJ Van der Mesht was going to Northampton, kind of without realising. I also quite like the fact that he was like, yeah, my dad's a big fan and he doesn't know, which I did really enjoy that. But also, just
shout out John Moon again.
I also just really like the fact that Johnny McPhillips somehow managed to, used us almost as an excuse to get himself away from the partying of Carcassonne's win. I thought that was really cool. Very short notice to get him after he'd kind of kicked the winning goal. That was really, really cool. And the fact that the setup was by me meeting his girlfriend on the plane. So, yeah. So have we got a shortlist and the guest moment is...
I don't know. One of those. Also, Johnny McPhillips was a worldwide exclusive. So
yeah. That's true.
Didn't get that in Rugby World or the Rugby Pod.
Yeah.
One of those. Take your pick. Listeners' favourite. Let us know. Okay. What else have we got on our sort of home straight of awards here? The try of the season.
Try of the season, yeah. I do have a short list. Are we doing just
go on, give me a short list.
So 2 were in the same game. It was the Tuathuvu against Racing in round 14, which was the Saran Magic Olivon doing his ACL one.
Incredible.
And then there was a Dreyan one where they basically go coast to coast, where the ball from the line out goes from Saran straight to Ganuku over the top of Garbisi. I also had Wainikolo in the penultimate round. I've just got beat so many players.
Was that against Bordeaux?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Because that was the one I saw Ilted in Jouet, his excellent weekly newsletter, had as his.
I haven't read that because I didn't want to be prejudiced ahead of this.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's prejudice to say that if there was one bloke who's been creating worldy tries this year, it's due to Wainikolo.
I've got loads in Pro Day Dirt, and I can't I don't know how I've got so few in top 14. A lot of Shisteras in Pro Day Dirt. Also, Pro Day Dirt is just
a bit more space.
There was one for the one that really, there was a Gabon Law solo effort and a Furte solo effort that had shades of Penny Dakawanga. There was a Noah Nene one where he bursts onto the scene. A few Joshua VC
against Mont-de-Marsan. Was that the one at
Patricio Fernandez, Mont-de-Marsan versus Biarritz. There's a Shistera and an inside ball from Yashagashvili, and there's like a barnstorming run. Like he charges down the middle. I don't know if you remember that one. But I've got 2 from Leo Drouet. There was one with a Jules Soulan offload when he's going into touch that is just one of those how has he done that offload? But I think I can't really remember any of those specifically. So we'll just do a top 14 one. And my vote would be the Saran Magic.
Yeah.
The fact that Olivon does his ACL and keeps the move playing. But it's just, we talked last week about viral rugby players.
Yeah.
But that was the one where it's how is this bloke not in the France squad sort of thing?
Yeah, it was, I'm really happy with that. It was an incredible try. It was a proper, I think because the nature of that offload out the back from Serran after a little grubber through, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a proper sort of jaw dropper, time stopper type moment. Yeah, I think that was quite extraordinary, and
I'd love to be able to do a compilation and get all the videos. And if I had endless hours a day, then I would trawl through all of the archives and get up a little video short. Maybe I will. But it's that is one that sticks in the. I think for try of the season, you've got to have one that sticks in the memory.
Yeah,
and as good as I don't even remember the Buonicolo one, partly because they've all blurred into one of him just beating millions of defenders. But I think that Saran one really does stick in the memory.
Yeah,
and partly because Olivon got injured. But yeah, it's a kind of semi one-man mastery, semi-team move as well. Like it's not just him on his own, but it's him bringing out the best of everyone around him as well.
Yeah, happy with that. On the own try of the season, the Rosbifs' favourite category, the three own try shortlist for me is David Niniashvili throwing a 30-metre pass into his own post against Vam. Incredible. There's, what's his name?
Bosmaran and Downavuku.
Bosmaran Downavuku getting interception, offloading in behind your own posts. Incredible. And there's the other one for me is the Giovanni Habel-Kerfner try against Cass, where Cass trying to run it out, not even with, like last play of the game, get caught in a maul behind their own try line. The maul collapses and it's a Bayern player on top of it. It's just incredible.
The third one I had on that makes the shortlist was there was one from Gaban Law against Nevers where the bloke somehow managed to it's like he's got a bar. It looks like he just throws it in the air, but he's like a bar of soap, and he basically just throws it in the air over his own line. And Gaban Law is the nearest man, and it's like that is just gifting it. I think there are the two big hitters are Niniashvili passing it to a post and the Downavuku Bosmaran trying whatever they could.
For me, it's got to be the Downavuku Bosmaran one. I think at least with the Niniashvili pass, you could argue that he's trying to create some space, and maybe if it's 6 inches one way or the other, it works. But getting caught offloading out of the tackle behind your own dead ball line
straight to an opposition player is
just premium stuff. It's incredible.
I think there's an element though.
I can't remember who scored it. I don't really care who scored it.
Rasaku. Well, I can't remember his first name. Josiah Rasaku. I don't know. Part of me is like, well, Niniashvili's such a talented player for him to just have that sort of comical moment. Whereas like two youngsters, weakened team against Leon, they had a bit of a rough ride.
Yeah, but
I think it's so they try so hard to get out of their own. Yeah. It's like that last play on Saturday in the Lions game, as though they are trying to score that try, but it is the first minute or first 5 minutes on their own try line in a kind of middle of the season game. Yeah.
Shout out. Two excellent young players, but not their finest moment.
Yeah.
Right, we're motoring through this. What else have we got left? Oh,
should we do a best food on tour?
Best food on tour. Now, Rob, I know you've got quite keen ideas on this, particularly from your mammoth trip. So go on, get me started.
So, I mean, technically the best thing I had on tour is
technically
probably somewhere in San Sebastian,
okay.
in the town, if we're being strict. But
I don't think that counts.
Doesn't feel right. Are we talking match day or just generally?
Well, I'm ears to whatever, but I don't think San Sebastian should count.
One thing one sit down meal or a couple of sit down meals that really stick in the mind. The duck on the Sunday in Cast, partly because we'd been to about 4 places that said they were open on Google Maps and weren't.
Yeah, that was.
And then
really
we found a very nice kind of solid duck confit. The platter and the wine that we had at the place in Paris that you and your old man found, and €25 for an astonishing amount of astonishing food. Those are probably the two off-field away from the game ones. I think at the stadium, actually, I just remember the burger at Breve. That was epic. Plenty of merguez everywhere, but I think Poe really, really takes some beating. I had an unbelievable kind of beef baguette. I had bavette with chimichurri and potatoes, and I had the thing that I've trying to find ever since I first had it in Bayonne, which is the duck breast baguette with, instead of butter, a bit of foie gras in there as a spread with a bit of fig chutney. It is for €7. Oh, just it's so good, and it's just the perfect like soak up food as well.
Yeah, very good.
Which is important.
Yeah, I think from what you've what I've heard from the stuff you tucked into this year, I think that feels like a worthy winner. It's at the game, it's at the ground. I'd go a little honourable mention for the last game either of us went to, which would have been myself at Merignac, and their €4 duck breast baguette, which was incredible value for money, pretty rustic, and also served with a €3 glass of red wine. You can't really go too far wrong on like a balmy Sunday afternoon. So no foie gras in there, no fig chutney, but yeah, there you go. The kind of, what would I call it? The working man's equivalent of the bougie Po one.
Oh, mate, the Po one is €7. Like it's
but it's got fig chutney in. That's not...
I think it's
which sounds delicious.
I do think on the shortlist we should.
And one of the props didn't cook it at Po, I imagine. So...
Yeah, that's fair. I do think
what
on
else
the
on the
shortlist. I think on the shortlist we should have the burger from Brive. That is
the
one
Brive
of the
burger
best.
Was incredible. Yeah,
that is one of the best That's probably the best match day burger I've ever had. It was just whether it was burger or steak tartare is a different debate, but yeah, phenomenal.
Delicious bit of grub. Okay, are we saying? But I think Po the winner, right? Surely.
Yeah.
Very good. Not I'd say not the hot dog at the Stade Chaban Delmas.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say
hot dog at Bromley.
Oh God, yeah. Well, it wasn't mine, but yeah. I thought you were going to say the cheesy chips with bacon at the Real Arena that I've been papped. I got so unmercifully papped by
shoveling.
Shoveling.
Fantastic. Now that brings us on, if I'm not mistaken, to the two, I guess, the big ones: the top 14 player of the year, and then the Golden Boeuf, the freestyle award, lifetime achievement, whatever you want to call it. Which, I say I've got something lined up. But top 14 player of the year, Rob. What was your shortlist?
Well, we talked about our two lock-ins, weren't they? Were
Jacques Willis
and Louis Bielbiere. We need a third one in there.
Brooksy. He made our team of the year. Kept Perpignan in the top 14, and he's been on the pod.
We've had a bit of heat about Brooks being in, or like a lot of people want Big Ben Tamafuna, who was frankly not that great throughout the full season. I'm trying to think who else was in our team. Baptiste Serran would be pretty
Serran
close.
Would probably be actually
or Abraham Papali.
Yeah.
He was one of the other universal picks in the end, wasn't he? That we both had.
Yeah, he was.
No, it's got to be Mangala.
Mangala. God, it's a decent list, isn't it? Mangala, Serran. Yeah, okay.
I actually think we might get agreement with La Nuit de Rugby on this. I think the shortlist for the official award could well be Willis, Bielbiere, Mangala. Yeah, I would again lean to Louis Bielbiere. I'm going Willis.
Are you?
I think Bielbiere was brilliant. I feel like his best games were probably in a France jersey or in the Champions Cup.
The Champions Cup, perhaps.
And I think Willis was so good
and plays so much because
he plays a
the
lot.
Fact he doesn't. Yeah,
he's not. And when he is playing, he's also playing quite often in the shags. Like they protected him a few times.
The asterisk Toulouse shags, which are slightly different.
Yeah. The Espoirs, the Espoirs /third team that is still the third best team in the league or whatever. But I think he had such a big impact, and he's quite unique as a player in the top 14. I think there's no one else that really has quite his skill set, and I think his super skill of the jackling is the best in the world, and he showed it this year in the top 14. In the final, I think like every week there's just, I remember when we were in the pissing rain walking to Périgueux, and we weren't watching the Toulouse game, and I just remember seeing someone tweeted or someone replied to something on Blue Sky or Twitter just saying Willis is just doing, it's Willis and the rest basically for Toulouse, which I think is how it has been sometimes, when they've, as good as they are, he's been a standout in that team.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm happy to go with that. I think you're right in terms of that.
Plus he's English, mate. He's English. We've already given Bielbiro one. We can't give him another.
Go on. All right then.
He's not quite DuPont levels where he can do what you want.
The top 14 player of the year gone from Rosbifs Rugby goes to Englishman Jack Willis. I'm happy with that. He's just an incredible player. Seems like a lovely man as well whenever you hear him interviewed.
Yeah. Also, he's been captain.
Yeah, which is no mean feat at somewhere like Toulouse.
First English captain of Toulouse, we reckon. So,
interesting. Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. Well deserved to Jack. The Golden Boeuf. Okay, so I don't know if you've got anything lined up for this, but I
literally just put it in there because I thought we should have something, but I haven't really.
So this is going to, you could argue that he straddles the revelation of the season, top 14 player of the season, particularly if you're looking at from a Rosbiff angle. Now, I'll wind you back a couple of years to went on a stag do, watched Richmond Ealing Trail Finders. And in that 23, there were two blokes who had played rugby with two of the guys on that stag do. In the starting 15. So one of them, so this is the kind of, this is how close we were to that sort of level when you're thinking that starting 15 is obviously Ealing a very successful side in their own right, but not making that starting 15 that two blokes had played amateur rugby with not 2 years before was one Daniel Lancaster, who at the start of the season was signed by his father Stuart, if I don't know if that's been reported, to go to Racing, albeit as initially the thinking was like a third choice kind of playmaker on a budget, etc., etc. Now, this caused consternation, not just because of the signing, but because, frankly, the first half of the season when he was playing, he looked like a bloke who'd come off the bench for Ealing. I don't think that's unfair to say.
No, I don't think
like Racing were on telly quite a lot, and he was no good. Wind forward a few months.
It was also exacerbated by the fact that the reason they were on telly was because they had just signed an English legend, their record point scorer, Test Centurion, Owen Farrell.
Mainly playing at 12, sometimes coming off the bench. Anyway, wind forward to the back end of the season. Big Sam has come in to steady the ship. Dan Lancaster is starting at 10, having already, I think by this point, been released for next season. He's steered them, if I'm not mistaken, wins away at Clermont, home to Bordeaux, and away to Toulouse. Dan Lancaster at 10. He's picked himself up a gig in the URC, one of the big hitters, Glasgow, for next season. It is, in its own right, regardless of the hours we've spent talking about him, the whole Racing saga, it is a ridiculous tale for someone who'd never played a game of top-tier professional rugby until this season. So my winner of the Golden Boeuf, the Rosbiff Revelation, is Dan Lancaster.
Rosbiff Rugby Season Achievement Award.
The
Golden Boeuf. I think I can't really argue with that. I haven't really got anyone specifically that would merit it individually, other than, I don't know, there's probably a few fan favourites that we've got, like a Masibaka, the fact that we found him and then it's turned out 3 days later that everyone else had found him, or Scotland Scouts had. I guess you could have I was thinking maybe a special achievement or season achievement for Nabu Konodoso, the bar in Toulouse, which I introduced you to, and I've been back a couple of times this season and
great place.
Reaffirmed itself as one of my favourite bars in the world. But I feel like the award has to go to an individual, and that was you've painted a lovely story there, Richard.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant.
All right.
There is one more award to come though.
Oh, is there? What's that?
Petit-Four and Digestif of the year.
Now we're talking. All right.
We are going to run through, and everyone will care about this a lot. We are going to run through the predictions, and I haven't quite done the table yet, but bear with me.
So while you're working that out, to avoid a little bit of silence here, so every week we post our predictions for what's going to happen on social media across both Top 14 and Pro Day 2, and that's been going on for however many weeks. And I believe Rob, as is his bean counting want, has tallied these things up. And I'll be honest, I don't think it's looking good for me.
I'll tell you what, the tables are interesting.
Tables?
Yeah, we did tables at the start of the season. That's what I'm just.
The one I know, I had one real outlier,
You've had a
I think
couple of real outliers. I was going to do this.
2, 1 in each league, I know is miles off.
Oh, God, we both had an absolute stinker in Pro D2. So at the outset of the season, let's start with this. At the outset of the season, we did tables, and you predicted Montauban to come second last in Pro D2. But don't worry, Richard, I predicted they'd finish bottom. Magnificently, the team that got promoted to the top 14 this season, I predicted would finish dead last in Pro D2. But Richard, you did predict that the team that did finish dead last, Stade Niçois, as they were, you had them to sneak into the barrage in 6th place.
Thought they were going to do a DAX. That was my thinking there.
We both had the same top 3. Do you know what that top 3 was?
What, in the same order?
Yeah.
Brive, Oyonnax, Grenoble.
Oyonnax, Provence, Brive.
Okay.
You had Grenoble to finish 7th.
Oh, wow.
I had them to finish 4th. Those are the biggest stinkers. Those are some not good ones, really. Top 14, I had Lyon to get relegated, which actually wasn't a million miles away. You did correctly predict Vannes would finish bottom. Do you know who you predicted to finish second bottom?
Oh.
You did, yeah, you bastard. Yeah. We both correctly predicted Toulouse and Bordeaux to finish first and second. Do you know who I predicted to finish third?
Bayonne.
Stade Francais.
I think I can't have been far behind that.
You had them 5th, but you had Racing in 3rd.
Oh, damn.
So neither of us covered ourselves. I also had Perpignan to sneak into the barrage in 6th. So that's gone well. And I had Bayonne to finish 13th.
Okay.
I was going to do a kind of point scoring system, but as to work out who was where. But I feel like we're both dreadful.
Yeah.
I did at least get Toulon in the top.
Amazing that it's extraordinary turnaround though, because I think like Montauban, that was not a controversial pick because they literally just stayed. But I know it's been said a million times, but they barely stayed up. Like that was not miles away.
No, it wasn't.
It's just what a remarkable turnaround. It's extraordinary.
Okay.
So basically writing those off as farce across the board.
Yeah, just proving what we already knew, that we know absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate that, we had in the 30 rounds, what's 30 times 8? 240. 240 predictions. Or actually, you can include the last, how many is that? 6. 246 games if you include the phase finale. What do you think you got out of 246 in Pro D2?
Oh my God. Well, probably, I reckon like just over half.
You got
159. Is that just over? Okay. It was quite a genuinely like tumultuous year results-wise, wasn't it? In terms of away wins, and it was far more exciting season than previously.
I mean, to be honest, it was still like there was only one team in Pro D2 that finished with more like a net positive away wins, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry,
I've fumbled my words there, but there's only one team that had more wins than losses, or had fewer losses than anything else, and that was Soyungalam. You had 159, which was 60, and that was out of it. If you include the first finale, that was 64.6%. I had 166, so I've beaten you by 7.
Blimey, that's quite close.
67. Well, I can tell you that in top 4, that was Pro D2, so I've done you on Pro D2 by 7. 7 out of 246. I can tell you, after 188 top 14 games, including the phase finale and the barrage and the access match, I got 125 out of 188. What do you think you got?
Probably like a lot less than that.
You,
100.
Richard, I got 125. You got 126.
You're joking, really?
Yeah. So we were.
That's hilarious.
We were 1 away from each other, which is mad.
Are we saying equally as useless?
Well, 2/3.
2/3.
You are actually statistically over 2/3. You got 67% right.
Oh.
I got 66.5. So I got basically 2/3 right.
There we go.
You were 2 ahead going into the phase finale. You kind of slightly fucked it in the finals phase.
I know what did it for me. It was Nostradamus knowing Racing were going to beat La Rochelle away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
I would say that we definitely had our our teams. I predicted Perpignan much more to win than you were big on Oyonnax. You were really big on Oyonnax. You were very anti-Po, which you've really doubled down on your prediction. But yeah, I can't believe it was that close.
Wow, that's mad.
I thought for a moment it was going to be a dead heat, but
well done for keeping track.
Bragging rights to Richard. Well, honours even. We go again next year. Anyway. Right. So the denouement, Rob, the Petit-Four stroke digestif of the year. There are so many here. I've kind of just tried to find the best ones. The ones I've put in bold are the ones that I've kind of picked out as the funniest.
So we've got within that, I forgot that wasn't that long ago, the Mar Nonu lookalike. $250,000 to have women flocking to him because he doesn't look like Mar Nonu. Magnificent. What else have you got in there?
The Non-Stu Kwang retirement video, just because that was absolutely brilliant.
High quality.
What I've got, I mean, to be fair, I could have Biarritz ballet dancers in there. I found that hilarious. But do you remember the Section Powwows dining experience?
Yes, yeah, that was...
You could have an exclusive dining experience in the changing room.
The deep heat.
And then possibly my three favourites, the anti-foie gras day protest from Federale, whatever it was. Although a dish of bechamel, like
the guy
Marvin O'Connor
describing
Crystal Furious as a dish of bechamel sauce. Oh, the Will Collier saucisson advent calendar, that was amazing. The Son Livrard pre-season injury. I went through all of
these. Is this the guy getting stretchered off?
Getting stretchered off just so he can have a fag. His team were so worried about him, and he was just having a break because pre-season got a bit tough and he was having a fag. And then obviously one of our favourites, the Carcassonne Player of the Month award, getting a Cote de Boeuf. Yeah. Any there? I don't know if I tried to get as many as...
For me, it has to be like the two greats in there. As much as we love the Carcassonne Player of the Month, the two brilliant ones for me are the pre-season injury with the guy stretched off for a cigarette and the anti-foie gras day counter protest.
The foie gras day counter protest is so good.
I think it's
for anyone that doesn't remember. It's in episode 16. There was a guy who played. He had a try. He was like a fly half, wasn't he?
Portly fly half from memory.
He was a big lad. There was a guy, he scored a try and he had a unique celebration. Loic Garbai of 1.8 metres, 115 kilos. He wears a specially made double XL shirt for Confluent RC in Regional 1. He's a winger. He scored a 77th minute try to win the game, and he celebrated by pulling his specially made double XL jersey up above his up to his chest to expose his belly, as he wanted to disassociate himself with the World Day of the Day. The 17th of November was anti-foie gras day, and he wanted to show protest.
It's phenomenal.
Which is just it ticks off everything. It ticks off lower league French rugby. It ticks off French culture, foie gras. I'm trying to think what else. It's just
the works. Yeah, the works.
It's got everything.
What was his name?
Loic Garbai.
Loic Garbai, you are the proud winner of the Rosbifs Rugby Petit-Four of the season. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was. I think elsewhere on the shortlist, I think it's got to be that the pre-season injury and Nonu. The Nonu look like. Shout out to Jolly who shared that with us. That was brilliant.
Yeah, it's something else.
So we're there, Richard.
We're there. What an incredible season it's been. Some deserving, everyone deserving winner, but particularly Loic, Dan Lancaster, Louis Bilberet. Who would have thought they'd all be in the same boat when we started the season? Yeah, quite remarkable. Rob, any closing thoughts before we say thank yous and farewells?
I guess thank you to all of our guests, but we'll go through that. But so we are, I don't know when we're going to be back. In the meantime, we will be beavering away, so keep an eye on our our social media. Going to try and do as much stuff on YouTube as I can to kind of give you that fix. Try and do a few other things. We've got potential rebrand coming as well, but Richard and I have got a big strategy session semi-planned to kind of see where we're going. If there's anything, so I guess if there's anything that you want to see more of from us, what do you like? What do you not like? Yeah, any feedback, get in touch with us. rosbifsrugby@gmail.com, or just slide into our DMs on at rosbifsrugby on all of the social media channels. But yeah, we'll try and do a bit more, go into the new season with gusto via YouTube, or keep you ticking over on YouTube. So please subscribe. We're very low on YouTube. So yeah. And for me, I think a heartfelt thanks to all our listeners, obviously all our guests who have been incredible this year. But thank you to those who are coming back week after week for some reason to hear what we've got to ramble through each week. Those who've been in touch, and those we've met as well. We've met some folks on our travels, which has been fantastic. Hope to do more of the same, starting in, well, not too far, a few weeks' time when the new season gets underway. But yeah, follow us, like, subscribe, get in touch. 50 episodes deep, can't really believe it. But we'll be back with more, bigger, better, and more buttery than we have been. It'll be season 3, series 3. That feels mad.
Ridiculous.
Unlike these Johnny come latelys.
Anyway, right. I've been Richard. That has been Rob. We've been at the Rosbifs Rugby Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to Series 2. We will see you in a few weeks. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.